folding up here.
Yep, I think that's good. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Okay.
Here at this time we are showing our Class 8 hamps, and in this class there's 13 exhibitors. We will be placing 8.
Good morning, everybody. We're here at Bexar County Junior Livestock Show. This is the 2019 show. And Em, it's a little different this year, isn't it? We kind of have a different date. Talk to me about that, because you're both 4-H and FFA. So give me a little bit about the date change.
The date, it usually changes back and forth, but the show's still going to be the same. The judge is probably different this year than last year, so he might be looking for different things, but the show's still a pig show.
The show's still a pig show, and it's still January, and guess what? Mother Nature showed up like she always does. When it's stock show time, you can always expect it to be cold. We're lucky it wasn't rainy, because typically we get cold and rain too, but it's a little cold. But guys, if you're out here around AT&T Center, you need to come out and see this. These are some hard-working kids, and they go anywhere from about 3rd grade all the way up to a senior in high school. One of the important things that we need to remind people about what's going on out here is they're actually working and doing their projects to make money for college, are they not?
Yes, they're doing their projects to help themselves and benefit themselves during college, and it's all the kids working themselves. The parents help sometimes, but it's mostly the children. They work for months and months to get their pigs ready for shows just like this. This might be their last show, this might be their first show. They all work the same amount.
And when you say first show and last show, let's talk about that, because this is not technically a terminal show. And what we mean by terminal show is the animal enters the show facility. It can't leave the show facility with anybody but a packing house truck.
Yeah.
But here it's a little different, because some of these students that are out here could be going to Gerlach later in January, could also be going to San Antonio in February. San Angelo, I believe, is in January. Yes. So they could be continuing on with their shows. But some of them, this is the end of the road.
Yes.
This is where, speaking of end of the road, what happens on Saturday that is going to be so very important to these young people?
Okay, on Saturday, for the kids who placed, they go to the auction, and there's buyers that go and bid on their animal and they give them money to support them for what they've done on their project all year long.
And Em, I think it's also important that we point out that this is much like a business for them. They have an investment in the animal, they have investment in supplies, they have investment in feed. The only way that they get the payoff on that is through the auction.
Correct.
We just noticed some of them are leaving the show ring now. Kind of explain what that means.
That means they didn't make the cut in this class. They weren't the best, out of this class. The judge picks, depending on the class size, he can pick anywhere from the top 10 to just the top 5, depends on the class size and how many animals are in each class. And the ones that just walked out were the lower quality. Doesn't mean they were bad. It just wasn't what the judge was looking for today.
And let's talk about that. What are some of the things that the judge is looking for?
This judge in particular, I haven't watched him enough to see what exactly he's looking for, but all judges look for the muscle, volume, structure, because
Okay,
that
but
all...
when we talk about muscle, let's point out some of the muscle. Obviously, we're looking at the hams.
Yes.
Which would be the back leg muscle.
Correct.
Okay. What other muscle? I know they're looking for the loin. Explain where that is.
The loin is on the top of their back. The wider their top, the more of a ridge they have on their back, that's where all the muscle is. You can see the muscle, it's very defined. And up front, they look for it too. If their chest is really wide and open, it shows that they have a whole bunch of muscle stored and they're very powerful.
Okay, and so we're also now looking at, some of them are holding their head up a little bit higher, and that's something that you want the pig to do, right?
Correct.
And why do you want them to hold their head up high?
You want them to hold their head up high because it gives the judge a good view of all aspects of your pig. Because when the head's up, then you can see the front, you can see the back. Their back itself is level, and it's just an easier view for the judge to judge them off of.
And we notice right now there's a girl getting a handshake. She got a little... So the animals that are back out here, he's now trying to place correctly for their final placement.
Yes.
And so he's giving them markers. Obviously, we're going to be pinning them.
Yes.
And it's important for everybody watching at home that we pin backwards. And what I mean by that is, if 10th is the cutoff, then we go 10, 9, 8, 7, until we get what's going to be the class winner.
Yes.
Now, looking out here, are there a couple of animals that really stand out to you?
I've been looking at this, the little girl in the teal, her barrow has a very nice level top. He might be a little smaller and shorter, but he's very expressive, and I personally like that pig. It just depends on what the judge is looking for, in particular in all these animals.
Well, let's talk about that, though. When you say that it's a little smaller, would you agree that that's probably an animal that she's looking to take further?
Most likely, yes. And her frame, the pig's frame size isn't as tall. It's closer to the ground, and that kind of shows the frame size. And that pig's probably going to go on to a different show, but this is probably just a prospect to help her get showmanship abilities.
And I mean, let's talk about that too. You raise pigs, do
Correct.
you not? Isn't it frustrating sometimes as you try to hold the animal back because you don't want your show animal peaking right now? Obviously, because if you're thinking Gerlach, which is towards the end of January, and then you're talking about, if it peaks now, then that puts us in a rough spot because you're not going to be able to hold that pig for a month.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't really control when your animal's going to peak, but once it does, you need to learn how to, you have to have somebody who knows how to deal with that and how to keep your pig looking great and walking great so the judge still sees the best part of your animal.
And so one of the pigs that you really liked is still out there. She is in the top 3, correct?
Correct.
And so everybody can understand at home, right now we have 3 pigs left. And it looks like
it's now 2.
Number 3, we're down to 2. So one of the 2 pigs that are out there in the ring is going to be our class winner.
Correct.
Now what's important about that is once the classes are complete, where do we go from there?
Once they do, usually for the breeds, once they do each breed class, then they'll take out all the first and second places and they'll come back and they'll do a breed drive, I guess you could call it. And they pick from those first places who's the best, and now the judge is going to give his reasons why he placed.
shoulder, the way this young man shows that one, lots of love, lots of patterns. He gets a little bit of that top four as well. That one gets a little bit too flat, a little bit too dry, a little bit too hollow. I think that's the question mark with her. I do like lots of things. That bear that the young lady has is just third. It's one that's really interesting. It's so stout, so rugged. You know, he just might have pieced himself all together. He gets a little bit out and around to the shoulder. There's times you wonder how just square through he wants to use his rear leg. But that's the unique one, if you will, in the class. A very, very interesting call in third. Young lady fourth, the highest I got one out of the Dead Sea. I like lots of things about her. You know, initially, and even still, you wonder about her hand more, you wonder about her play. I thought over time I didn't think that rear leg was good enough. Like her style, the like her feature. Showed really good, young lady. The whole, we got her this, like this valve in design. I just wanted to go with two planes and shapes and planes and looks to work it up. Big muscle one here, want to fix your calf, get chopped at the rear leg. The yoke and step, once again, muscle call with good skin and hair. Want to change her center body, smooth her up, her hip more in her hip. Young man shows himself in an 8. Lots of power, want to fix her up faster as well. Like to just square her up, make her more fluid out of the rear leg as well. Very, very good class, very competitive class. Please put your hands together.
Okay, this time in the Helotes, we should have our class 9 Hampshires. In this class, we are showing 11 and placing 7. In our class 8, in 8th place, Trent Hahn, St. Hedwig 4A, Southwest FFA. 6th place, Desiree Castro, Essential FFA. 5th place, James Vines, O'Connor FFA. 4th place, Anna Alonso, Essential FFA. 3rd place, Molly Kirkendall, Southwest FFA. 2nd place, Kobe Neal, St. Edward 4H. And in 1st place, Gabriela Guzman, O'Connor FFA. Congratulations.
It's all he did.
You're the one making the choice. And we're back with you. We just finished up the light middleweight hamp class. We're now in the middle heavy hamp class.
Yes.
Em, talk to us a little bit about the different classes.
It's based off of weight, and some of them were born at different dates. So the earlier they were born, the heavier they are. So to keep it from being an unfair advantage, they separate the classes so everything's about the same age.
Well, and why do you say unfair advantage? Does it have to do with muscle tone? Does it have to do with frame size?
It has to do with a little bit of everything. It has to do with muscle, frame size, how big they are just in general, because once they get to be a certain like age and frame size, they get what the judge calls stale, and so they're not as fresh and they're a little
we were
sloppy.
talking about that, about peaking and that kind of thing, and so if you have an animal that peaks almost a month from now, if they peaked now and you brought them into the Gerlach, they would be stale. That muscle tone is now already reached its optimum, starting to lose a little bit of the finish, starting to lose a little bit of the tone.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to put it. And I think also what we need to understand, and we notice we're already starting to pin one here, but it's important to note that a 120-pound pig is not going to look the same as a 160-pound pig.
Correct.
And just like a human, muscling is going to weigh more than fat.
Yes.
So it is possible for that larger animal, you're thinking, oh wow, that's a 160-pound pig, but that's a lot of 160 pounds of muscle.
Yes.
And that's something that we all look for when we go to the grocery store. We don't want a thin, puny pork chop. We want a pork chop that is
Nice and muscular.
absolutely.
Yes.
We want something for dinner, not something for breakfast to start. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. So right now he's going through and he is already pinned, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
Now 7. And so he has now made his final cut.
Correct.
And we do want to wish those showmen that are leaving the arena right now, we want to wish them a lot of luck as they continue on. Hopefully they will be continuing on to further shows in the year. And also say, what a great job. I mean, those are some nice looking pigs that are walking out of there.
Yes, they are. It all depends on the class you're put in, because sometimes there's 2 or 3 different classes and you just get put in, or not even put in the wrong one, but your pig isn't good enough for the class that you're in.
Well, and also sometimes it comes down to that magic number called weight.
Yes.
Sometimes you almost wish you could put your toe on the scale just to give it a little bump there, because you know that, hey, I've got a great lightweight pig, but I don't have a great heavyweight pig. So you want to make sure that it falls into that. And when we talk about that, also remember on the market steers, that becomes difficult too, because that's broken into breed classifications. And even though you're convinced that that steer is an Angus, the guy that's back in the back classifying may go, oh, I don't know that that's really an Angus. I think it's a European, or whatever the case may be. And so you wind up in a little bit different class here. And it looks like he has started making his final selections.
Attention, the barn and husband start having.
So as a showman, what is going through your mind as you're standing out there?
As you're out there, you gotta know the judge and you gotta watch him the whole time. You gotta trust your pig to be able to walk wherever you want them to walk while you watch the judge. So as you'll see, there's gonna be a few good showmen, like this guy in the blue. He knows how to hide, and when you hide, it's basically like showing.
Yeah, exactly. What does hide mean?
Hiding's like you're not entirely sure if your pig's the best one in the class, so you can try to back off and only show the views that you know are the best of the views on your pig.
And some of that, what we also mean too, is maybe there's just a little dip in the back. So if I walk them a little differently,
slow them down, speed them up.
Right, I'm going to take that dip out, and so I'm presenting the best side of the animal right there. And that's one of the things. Let's talk about, you mentioned showmanship a couple of times. Let's talk about that, because that's just as important as walking, feeding, and exercising this animal. It's all part of the process. So what does it mean to be a showman?
Okay, to be a showman, you gotta know how to show your pig. You gotta put trust in your pig, and the pig has to trust you. To where, as you can see, this young lady doing, she's watching the judge almost 24/7 and not even looking at her pig, and her pig's staying with her. She's a very good showman. She knows where to take her pig relative to the judge, because the judge doesn't like when the pigs are right on top of him, because then he can't see them. And then once they get excused from the ring or they get placed, you always go up and shake their hand, because that shows like good sportsmanship.
And once again, we're down to the top 2,
Yes.
and it looks like he has made his selection for who's going to be 1 and 2 in this class.
Yes, and so he'll give his reasons on that.
And coming up, Judge, take it away.
We don't know what you're going to get. First two back there, 36 in. I did actually send the girl the second in the big ring, but you never know what's in the company in one of these classes. I think it's a good pair. I think they did a beat up here for top things. I think they both fall free in terms of feet legs, in terms of comfort, soundness. I think the one we win with, I like the extra vocal, the extra mass, that's in the center part of the body, the extra soundness you bring to the table. Not the cheapest one in the world, but it's a real base to kind of how we win. The open second, you like the look guys on the side of it, the shoulders, or length of the neck, or just levelness in general. She reads a little bit flat right there in the center part of her body, and a little bit rider right there when we get on top of her. Very nice skill. Congratulations to that young lady. Third and third, I like the stoutness. I like the help with the shoulder back. I like the hip and tail. I like the squareness when you get behind him. He's kind of got a weirder way his ears are put together. It kind of makes him look a little bit unattractive there. I read a little bit straighter and forward in his shoulder right there in his place. All we have is four is real well presented, great skin and hair, really good show. Another one I sit down into the dead seat, like to make her stouter, her foot stouter, her bone. That's a nice call as well. I like this where a lot initially the 15, obviously you start to get a little bit too squishy, wants to start lifting. I like the ball, we like the hat. Lots of shape the ball, too straight in terms of rear leg and front leg and to make her sound. All we have to sound like to open up. The one I did like the pass on the side.
Baby, just take her back to the pin.
Please congratulate
So
those
Kylie
two.
can take a picture with her. I don't know either, but I think
At this time in the holding pins, we should have our class 10 Hampshires. In this class, we are showing 12. We will be placing 8. In class 9, in 7th place, Alexis Alvarez, Judson, FFA. 6th place, Kylie Sparks, East Central, FFA. 5th place, Cristobal Alcacer, Helotes 4-H, LSP. 4th place, JC Cajon, Southwest, FFA. 3rd place, Callie Urquhart, Southwest, FFA. 2nd place, Mabry Bassfinder, East Central, FFA. And in 1st place, Josie Johnson, East Central, FFA. Congratulations. Just a reminder, we will be showing through the white OPB. Once the white OPB champion drive is done, we will break for a 30-minute lunch.
Try putting tumbles.
Let's talk about what's going on right here.
Okay, so the judge, this is his very first look at the pigs. He sorts them back here first. He pins some of them that he likes right away, and then the other ones go straight into the ring. And then he goes and double checks in the other ring his place, or the way he sorted them, and he looks at them a little longer and better. This is really important because this is based off how you show your pig. Because if your pig doesn't look good as it walks out the gate, the judge is going to send you to the ring, and you'll have to show them up there, which isn't too difficult, but it's easier to get them to show in this ring and get placed right away.
Okay, but let's talk about this because this is almost like first impressions.
Yes.
You have about 10 seconds to impress that guy right there.
Correct.
And all your hopes and dreams and everything is resting on those 10 seconds, because if he doesn't give you the nod, then you don't even make it out to the sand, as we call it. So it'll be a little different though in San Antonio, right? Because there will be a different judge that's back here sending it, and then you have the judge that's inside the ring.
Actually, yes. Actually, no. At San Antonio, there's this ring here, and the main judge is in here, and he looks at the pig, and then he sends you, if he doesn't like it, he sends you to a different judge, and that judge decides if you go into the ring or if you're out. And so there's two different judges, but you get sifted, or you can get sifted twice here before getting to the actual big ring.
So even double the pressure?
Yes. It's a whole bunch of pressure for 10 seconds.
So that's a little look behind the scenes of what's going in, and we've already got animals coming into the arena now. This means that they've actually met the sift, and they've made it. But also, have you noticed there's a couple of pigs down here in this little pen? Why are they still there?
That was some of the pigs that the judge liked the best out of what he had seen already. So he said, okay, I like you a lot. I'm going to go ahead and pin you so I don't have to pin you when you're in the ring, and I don't have to look and try and find you again.
So that means that those two individuals already kind of have a leg up, right?
Correct. They probably showed really well right outside the gate, had the head up, walked really slow, got the judge nice views, and got everything the judge was looking for. So they got placed, or not placed yet, but a higher advantage.
So with what you're seeing out here right now, and granted this isn't the full number that will be coming in, but is there a pig that stands out? Is there a market swine that stands out in the ring right here?
I haven't really been looking, but I really like this girl with the number 33, the blue long sleeve. Her pig is nice. It's okay from the back, but it has a very nice wide top on it, and it walks really good for her. And if she gets her that pig's head up, she could place in this class. Well, I haven't, besides the other one, right. I haven't seen.
I mean, but I'm looking at it, and I'm sitting there thinking Christmas ham. And that certainly, just one of those would feed a family of 50 at least. I mean, it's what it's looking like from up here.
Yes.
So they have put a lot of time in here to develop these animals. Now, are these market swine a little older than the earlier ones that we've seen come into the ring?
They might be.
Okay.
It might also be the genetics they were built on that makes them grow faster, so they're bigger. You can't really tell from about ages because the market side is not the weight classes aren't based off ages, but the breeding is.
Now, to me, the pig that's kind of right in front of us, young man has him. He's getting ready to turn and go back towards. Looks like he's walking a little stiff to me.
He kind of is. That just might be the way the pig's been taught to walk, because I'm pretty sure if he gets his head up, he'll walk a little nicer, but that pig is a little stiff and possibly a little stale. I can't really tell from up here.
But I mean, one of the things though that we can see is the hams on that one are really large because they actually almost go down to the hock.
Yes.
When we see it from the back side of it. So there's certainly a lot of meat on that pig right there.
Yes.
We've got one that is a little excited. He came in there, he was ready to run for his life, and he certainly took off. The judge has now made it into the mix, go down to the hock
Yes.
when we see it from pen selections. Now, as a showman, Mr. Speedy Pig there, right there, does he not frustrate the exhibitor just a little bit?
Oh no, that happened to me one year, and that is very frustrating because then you have to try and show up from that moment, and that's very hard to show up from because it makes it look like you don't know what you're doing, even if you might, and your pig's just like a little stressed.
I was going to say there are a couple of factors that can contribute to that, and in no way can the exhibitor control that.
No, you can't control that.
Part of that, as we know, animals when weather changes, and yesterday we weren't needing a jacket, today we're needing to bundle up because it's cold as an igloo. So that affects the psychology of the animal. But then not only that, but the chances of these pigs being around as large a crowd as what's here today are pretty slim.
Yes, it's usually just the family of the raiser. So it's not usually this many people, so they're kind of trying to figure out what's happening and what's going on.
Exactly. They're in a new situation, they're in a new surrounding, and hey, I get nervous when I'm in a new surrounding. I mean, I would be a Speedy Pig too. So we get that.
Yes.
Now the judge did visit with him.
What the judge does right before he releases the ones that didn't quite make the cut is he tells them what's wrong with their pig and what they can fix for the next show they go to.
Because that's something that I want to remind people. This may not be the end of the career for the pig or the exhibitor, but as a shout out, and remember, they're all working extremely hard for an auction place.
Yes.
But an auction cannot be successful without having buyers, and that's where you, the viewing audience, and everybody that's inside this building can actually participate. My understanding from the show president is you can actually log on to the Bexar County Junior Livestock Show website, and they have a buyer registration form. You can fill out that registration form, and on Saturday you can come and take in the activities and actually help make someone's future a lot brighter. Younger showmen, obviously, they're going to be trying to invest again for next year.
Yes.
So that's why it's very important for the auction. And then, of course, for seniors, we know why. Because the seniors, they're going to have college expenses coming up. Are books expensive?
first to tell you, I like to stretch her hip out, and I don't think she's comfortable with the high heel, but I think it for me the way she uses her hip and her rear leg. I think that one's got a huge battle leg, a huge foot, a big square shape, and a really neat looking feature. I think it's a neat one to win. I think the top pair is going to be a really fun pair. And second, I have a school to kind of put herself in second. I think she fights. I like her hip just a nickel better than the one we start with. And I thought initially she might be the more flexible of the two. Obviously, at the moment she's not the one that you like her representation, her skin, her hair, her body shape, her freshness, lots of quality there. You know, we have that third, and it's bigger and kind of a little more extended than those top two. I thought she got a little bit weird right there. Her hand one jump, she wants to jump up in her jump muscle. Like to smooth that one, but that's a high quality, really fast going power. Kind of go to third. And then bring out that fourth spot. Let's link the body, let's look. Initially, I liked her quite a bit. I thought that one reached a little bit frailer. Right there, her forehead, a little bit frailer right there, her foot, her bone. The hollow cat coming out next. Worked his way up. I still think that one needs to be a little bit too weak in his top line. I do like his power, his sound, and his flexibility. Still, we haven't said lots of power. His top is up for skeleton. One right out next. Really good skin here, really good power. You can see that one be able to drive and beat and just go out and very nice. Very, very good class. Sorry about the top in there, but I had a really nice set to wrap up.
If I can have our class 11 white OPB, if you can start making your way to the holding pen, please. Class 11 white OPB, if you can start making your way to the holding pens, please. In class 10, in 8th place, Lorenzo Gates, Southwest FFA. 7th place, Lawson Taylor, East Central FFA. 6th place, Hannah Willis, Madison FFA. 5th place, Brody Pfizer, East Central FFA. 4th place, Kaylee Richter, Southwest FFA. 3rd place, Casey Stanley, Judson.
This one here.
2nd place, Kelly River, Southwest FFA. And first place,
And first place, Allie Schultz, East Central.
congratulations.
Well, let's put our hands together for our exhibitors. It's been a fun show, and what we have out here, just like in the previous couple breeds, I think the qualities are mainly solid, and with that said, I didn't think there's one that just gets me quite a bit harder in terms of presence, in terms of feature, in terms of just athleticism and comfort. Congratulate the lightweights out here.
Okay, so what has happened so far?
So far, he placed the grand for the drive,
Okay.
and he took out the second place in the class for after the one who just
Right. So
won.
what we had in here to begin with were all first place pigs, correct?
Correct.
And so he selected his grand champion ham. And what is now going to happen is the second place that was behind that particular animal will now join, and what we will have here is the reserve hamp of the show.
Yes.
It looks like he's locking in. I think he may have a little favorite out there. He's taking a couple of double looks. Another look.
It's probably really close between the two.
But he does seem to be walking back and forth between the girl with the, I'm going to call it Angora sweater, and the young man with glasses. And now he's taking even a step backwards to look.
Yeah. He's probably trying to see which one moves better because they both have really nice, good muscle, nice tops. They're both very good animals, and he's just trying to see which one he wants out of the two.
You can sit there and second guess and nitpick and weigh and measure all you want.
And we'll go down on the ground now
to harder when you feel like excites you more, and I think there's a pair to go and weigh on it. You don't have it. Think about this more. I'd probably rather have in my farm with my third grade daughter driving behind. Let's congratulate her second place.
In the holding area, we should have at this time our Class 11 White OPB. We will be showing 6 in this class, and we'll be placing 4. In our Hampshire division, our champion is Colby Gill, lightweight, same heavyweight, 4H, and reserve is Hayden Diaz, Helotes Unlimited with his lightweight. Congratulations.
So we're now moving into the white OPB, which means other pure breeds, so that's not a crossbred pig right now. And let's talk a little bit right now. I know he's working on trying to finish up this lightweight class. It was a small class to begin with. I think if I heard correctly, they said there were 6 that started.
Correct.
Looks like he's got 3 of them out there. We've made the cut. We've now got 3 that are coming in. This is a little different. He took that one out, and he didn't release all of them quickly.
Yes.
So I think he's wanting to get that second look.
He's trying to place his class 12 off of the first impression he gets, and then he'll go back between the 2 that he thinks are the highest quality, the highest 4 are out here. He'll go back to the highest 2 and place those based off his next impression, not just the first one he got.
And so he's here looking. So most of these out here are barrel pigs.
Yes.
And we need to talk about that. That is actually an altered male pig. One of the reasons that when you make them into barrows, does it not help with them developing more muscle and developing quicker?
It doesn't really hurt or help them. Basically what it does is it keeps them tame and keeps them from being so wild. So you can actually control the pig, and it's a lot easier.
And it looks like he has made his bottom 2 choices. Actually, we're going down on the floor because he's made his decision.
Well, nice class. I think the young lady right here in the center of the square here in class winner 1, and it's just a really, really nice individual. Stout, good looking, sound, comfortable, lots of power, so look at good look. It's been a great deal. Just like it's the Hilton second, I think you really have to like from the side. Really good design in that one. Really good kind of top line hip. That one is really flexible and comfortable. Getting on top of her, I don't think she's a mass is close enough, but I think a nice one to be second. The young man player that we got in third, I like his comfort level. I like his body depth. I read him just a little bit frailer in terms of feet and bone, just a little bit plainer in terms of shape and look. I think he's a sounder option, and the young lady is a player we have in fourth. Certainly a stout, powerful, big top one. I just thought too quickly that one got too tight and uncomfortable from it. Really nice finish. Congratulations to them. Please give them a hand for that set of examples.
In our holding pens at this time, we should have our class 12 white OPB. In this class, we're showing 6. We'll be placing 4. In class 11, 4th place, Bailey Shrevelbein, East Central FFA. 3rd place, Albert Garcia, Southwest FFA. 2nd place, Michaela Martinez, East Central FFA. And in 1st place, Emaleen Cain, East Central FFA. Congratulations.
Did that solve it?
At least like 4 times.
Dad from the pen.
Okay, this time your class 12, showing 5, placing 4. After this class, we do the breed. We will be breaking for lunch.
So here we are, we're in the heavyweight class of OPB, white OPB. So this will be the final class of this particular breed.
Yes.
He is placing 4 out of this. There were 6 animals to start. Once this finishes, then we should have the breed drive for OPB as well.
Yes.
Okay. So now we have 2 pigs that are getting friendly with one another, or about to argue with one another. I'm not quite sure. Could be brother and sister, almost, you know. I guess it would be 2 brothers. It'd be kind of hard to be a brother and a sister, right?
Maybe. No, I think it's a brother and sister.
Oh, actually, no, I'm thinking it's 2 sisters.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, well, then we definitely know that they weren't fighting. They were actually just catching up with what's going on in the back of the barn.
Yes.
How's my hair? Do I need my nails? Something of that nature. So my understanding, we do have 5 pigs out here, but they are going to place 4.
I believe so, yes.
Does a pig stand out yet?
They all have different good qualities about them. I think I like the girl in the purple or the girl in the cheetah print vest. That's my preference. I don't know how he's gonna go.
Well, right now it looks like your 2 preferences are in the top 2. And it looks like the girl in the purple is actually going to be the class winner on this one. That's a good call. And let's talk a little bit about how we prepare, or not how we. Obviously, I did not wake up this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. But how do they get these animals ready to go for show?
Well, they have a whole separate move-in day, so the pigs aren't so stressed to where they go from straight to the trailer to the show ring, because that's very stressful. And so they have a whole day where they can relax and calm down. And then all today is the day they show, and they get washed, they get trimmed beforehand.
We'll come back to that because we'll go down on the floor. The judge is giving his choices here.
Quality look, bone, getting on the surface a little bit, right there in the center part of the body, once it goes directly away from me, like the cluster part over there, just a bit more. But I do like her pass on the left, more than the young lady still we're going to have right there in the shirt, I'll let her out. One that's got good shape, good skin and hair quality. I would like to see her coordinate a little bit better, be able to get her head up front with a little bit more shape. But I do like her freshness, I do like her shape. Just letting where we have fit is massive in terms of body weight and shape, and just ruggedness in terms of bone. I can see that one just be able to be easier moving out of his hips and rear legs. He's got a lethargic in the way he wants to use it. Just laying around out the last 50
In our class 12 white OPB in 4th place, we have Megan Baldwin, Southwest FFA. 3rd place, Haley Gonzalez, Southwest FFA. 2nd place, Emaleen Schultz, East Central FFA. And in 1st place, Macy Bassfinder, East Central FFA. Congratulations.
Well, high quality care, but I think there's one that it's been really hard to just find positive in the scout round, practice back and up there to get ready to do it.
So as I was saying, your particular pig that you liked as your favorite was declared the breed winner. What really stood out? Why?
That pig had was really, really massive, really wide from the front and behind, and was really wide over the top and very, very deep in its rib. And so it had a whole bunch of product and still very thick bone and still could move around.
And then the one that you had, the cheetah print, of course, right there is second. So you call the breed champion and reserve here perfectly. And now, so that everybody will know, we're kind of taking a break for lunch.
Everyone, we are going to be breaking now for lunch. We'll have a 30-minute break.
When we come back from lunch, we will start with our spot class. So again, we are breaking right now for lunch. Our breed champion for the white OPB is Macy Bassfinder with East Central FFA with her heavyweight. And our reserve is Emaleen Schultz with Central FFA with her lightweight. Congratulations. A couple of reminders over in the cattle.
We're back from having lunch, and if you have the opportunity, the Helotes 4-H clubs over there have a great concession stand, and they have a deal. If you're part of Helotes 4-H, you can get a wristband for $5 and eat all day. I said something about getting a wristband, and they chased me away because I was afraid I'd eat too much. You know, that happens sometimes. And in come the spots. Em and I had a big argument off camera and during the lunch break because I say that these are not purebred. She says they are.
They are.
That actually has a star on it. It gets extra points because it has got the star right there. Christmas star is in the house. It just doesn't realize it's going to be Christmas bacon here soon, but it is in the house. And we have Spotty the pig over here to my left. Now you can understand why they call them spots, because they are spotted. I know, that was so original, wasn't it?
Very.
I didn't know that y'all were paying for a comedian to be doing this. This must be a... Okay, and now this is a very interesting situation right here because it seems like he pinned most of these back in the sift.
Yes, he saw something that he liked in the spots, and so he pinned them right away. And these ones he might still like, he just doesn't like as much as the ones he pinned and saw something great right off the bat from.
Well, with that being said, I can't wait to see the ones come out in the ring, because that little pig that's up against on the far left side, what a great set of hams on that pig.
Yes.
Let's have a round of applause for
So, I mean, I think there's some meat that is walking out of it right now.
Yes.
We do want to give those exhibitors a big shout out, because it's tough. You work a long time, you spend some time, you hope that it's going to go a little bit different, and today it just wasn't that pig's day. But we're bringing out now the ones that he had pinned on sift. And it looks like we're going to have a total of about seven? Looks like we're going to have a total of 7 pigs. They're making their way out now. Their debut.
Hey, Lauren, if I can start having class 14 spots, if you can start making your way to the holding area, please. Class 14 spots, if you can start making your way to the holding area, please.
Looking out here, Em, it seems to me that these pigs are carrying a little bit more muscle than what we have seen earlier in the morning.
The spot breed is very... They always have a whole bunch of muscle, so that's probably why he pinned them all so fast in the pins right off the bat, because these are all really nice pigs, and this is going to be a hard class to judge.
Just looking at it from, my eyes that I'm seeing here, it seems like the little pig that's coming toward us in the stand is just at a little bit of disadvantage because it doesn't look like his back end is as developed as some of the others that are out there.
And if you
seeing
notice,
some nice shoulders too.
If you notice, there's multiple. Both the little boys in the blue, their pigs are a little shallower bodied. That's not a bad thing. They can easily fix that, but they just weren't fed right for this show in particular.
Well, but I mean, does this go back to the discussion that we're having, is that this is kind of an early show?
Yes.
In that, once again, if I'm trying to either target San Antonio or even targeting Gerlach, I mean, we're talking a good month or longer for Gerlach, and even on San Antonio add another 3 weeks to that. Almost impossible to really develop that pig now for it to really stand out and then be able to hold it back for those other 2 shows.
If you develop them fully now, it'll hurt them later because it's harder to keep them fully developed when they get there.
And so I think that's something that when you're looking at home and you're looking at some of the pigs that are walking around here, we need to remember that this is a unique show. And what I mean by that is, for some of these exhibitors, yes, this is it. This is their destination. This is what they were doing. But a lot of them are going to be going to another show.
Yes.
Their animal is going to be going to another show. And so that's why you're going to see a little bit different in size and quality, I think.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that the animal itself, because can you imagine those 2 smaller pigs that we're talking about? And we're going to go down to the floor.
We get this first class of spots, and I guess for me, we got a really easy kind of class winner with this young lady. One of the first ones to the sit pin and just high quality individual, design, balance, power, squareness, flexibility. I like that one a great deal. Second and third fight is closer to me, and her hope to have a little more just body and just flesh. And I felt the bear was going to run within second. Has more load to her front end, more better height to shoulder. Just a high quality kind of profile in that one. The young lady still we have in her, you appreciate the body shape, the mass that one has. I would personally like to see her maybe have a bigger kind of a look, clean her up through her neck and throat. Just an quick to me, but it's a good one in that third place spot. The young man that know we have it for good shape, to get power in that one. I would like to drop down her flank. Anyway, the bear that we have in sit. Want to change his front pasture and just give him a little more flex going away from us. Where that makes wearing 6 long body, heavy love, wants to get a little piece in the stop. Good set of spots, please put your hands together. That's the exhibitor.
As soon as all the pigs are out of the ring here, we're going to bring in the next class. Next class, I'm guessing, will be light middle. It's going to be heavy because there's only 2 classes of spots. Nope, heavy.
So that could be
heavyweight.
That could be the reason why this class looked so difficult, is because there's a whole bunch of different ranges of sizes because there's only 2 classes.
Okay, at this time in the holding pen, we should have class 14 spots. We'll be showing 8 in this class, placing 5. In our class 13 spots, in 6th place, we have Cain Neal, East Central FFA.
So we're getting ready for the spots heavy.
Madison FFA.
And what are your expectations for this class as they come in?
They're gonna all be, I expect them all to be very heavy boned, very big and wide on top, and have a whole bunch of hands, because that's the traits that a spot usually carries.
Madison FFA. And in first place, Sophie Kruger.
And as we can hear, they're clapping for the people that placed in the last class, the spots lightweight. And so we've announced
Brody Schmidt, East Central FFA. If you can please report your class 14 spot to the holding area, please. Brody Schmidt,
East Central FFA, class 14 spot.
So we're getting a backside view again. One of the reasons why I wanted to get a backside view on this class is because last class we noticed that he pinned just about everybody in sift. And so we're seeing right here, they're getting ready to make their way in. One little piggy does not want to go to market. He certainly does not want to go to market. But we're trying to get him in. Okay, so he's going to be making his way around the sift area. Come on, piggy. Okay, he's there. Oh yeah, he's giving us a high view. And he's now out of our sight. We got the next one ready to come in. As you can see, this is a process, and in a way, this process goes very, very quickly. That's something that we really want to talk about. It's one of those that first impressions count. We always hear about how you want to make the best first impression. Well, this is the first impressions that these pigs are getting with the judge. And as you can see, it's a quick process. Almost, what would you say, about 30 steps?
Yeah, probably 20. And then by then, like right after you walk out of the pin, the judge is already thinking, yes, this is what I want to do. No, this is not what I want to do. And he'll like either send you or he'll tell you to go get pinned.
And he gave the sign there. I'm not quite sure which sign is working with this judge because we haven't seen as much.
When he gives the flat palm, that means they're going to be sifted and they're going to go to the actual ring. If he points forward, that means they're going into pins right on.
And so he's looking at this one. We're waiting for the sign. There's the sign. It was a palm.
Class 14 spot in the arena. We have 8 in this class, and we'll be placing 5.
And he's taking another look at this one. And there was the point. He got the point. Now we're going to the front. So it started with 8. We already have 3 that are pinned. Two that were pinned, so yes. We got 6 out here in the ring. So the pressure is really on for these.
Yes. And you can tell that there's some pigs that just missed the cutoff for the small lightweight class, and so this class is it's a range of different sizes from actual heavyweight to not quite lightweight.
Does that put extra pressure on the judge as far as trying to grab hold of or select the pigs that he wants to place when you have such a wide variety?
Probably it doesn't put pressure on the judge, but it puts pressure on the people showing, because because they know that they could be at a disadvantage because there's pigs out there that are bigger and more muscular because they've been on feed longer.
Well, and I mean, we should say that even every skill, if you did every skill correctly as a showman, you still can't make up 30 pounds on a pig.
Correct.
I mean, you can make what is there to really stand out and make it look great, but you still can't add 30 pounds to a pig. And right now we see that the judge is talking to a couple of the exhibitors. And it looks like he has made his final selections. I want to give a big hand to those exhibitors that are leaving the arena right now. They've been working hard all winter long, all fall long to get these pigs ready to go. And I think one of the pigs that's leaving right now is, I think, a perfect example of what you were talking about, just missing that weight.
Yes.
And unfortunately coming in at the bottom end of this class, there's a lot of power, there's a lot of meat that we're about to see as they come out. Got the last pig out, so now we're going to bring out the 5 that he decided to pin, and here they come. And I want to visit just a moment here about the advantages of 4-H and FFA. It is an all-inclusive group, and we see this here today. There is no one that they're not saying cannot show. And I think you see everybody from cheerleader to athlete to musician to even special needs students. They're right out here in the ring. They're working the skills, the lessons. And we have another speedy pig. He's trying to get away. He's running a little bit. I'm really liking the pig that's down here in our right corner. I wish that his belly would come up just a little bit.
His belly, I think it's fine because it shows the rib shape, and the ribs are one of the major things they look for. His belly might be a little low, but I think he's good.
And he must be, because he got the 1.
Yes, sir.
We're going to go down to the ground now to let the judge take over for us.
One thing is another really place to start this second last class of spots. The young man feels his one has got to try to balance on the side. Good proportion, good look in that one. I think she wins this class pretty easily. The other young man's like, no, we're going to have in second is one. I do like in terms of how she comes and goes, in terms of having some weight. That one wants to get a little higher, a little rounder in her hip and where her shell set's in her. I do think she's a sounder option, so the young man's going we have in third. I need her stay with the hog in third. One that I do like the roughness, I do like her battery. I think going right away from the 7 ones that close and there is. I like to change that about a different bear that we have in fourth. Or Yorkshire, as I should say. One that's got a lot of power, lots of soundness. I love to see how a little bit squishy on her front feet, a little bit straighter there in the rear hop. And Lady of Fancy went out right there. It's got very good sound and big body. Have more bone, more shape in that one. And work well with this building. Good set of spots. Let's put your hands together if that set of exhibitors.
Okay, if I can have class 15 Yorks make your way to the holding area, please. Class 15 Yorks, if you can make your way to the holding area, please.
So here we are.
14.
We're in the breed
In
drive.
5th place, we have Logan Musk,
And of
O'Connor
course,
FFA.
We're having to
Fourth,
try to compete
Casey
with the
Bella,
loudspeaker.
Southside FFA. Third,
But
Colton Hanover,
one of the
O'Connor
things that's
FFA.
happening here is we're going to
Second,
select
Oscar
the
Estrada,
champion
Southwest
spot.
FFA.
And it's
Jason
also
Aguero,
going to be
first
important
place,
because what's
Southwest
coming up on
FFA.
Saturday? What a unique experience right here this young man took. And of course, I know I was picking on his pig a little bit because I said I didn't quite like his belly. I thought it was a little too low, but the judge disagreed, and we're going to go down to the floor for this.
Maybe not the biggest breed, I guess, in comparison, but lots of quality nonetheless. I think we'll have a fight closer decision to reserve. I think we've got a logical place to start one. I think it's awfully good. Let's congratulate the lead with the lightweight.
So now we have the breed champion, my understanding, has been crowned, and we're out here trying to pick the second.
Yes.
I think we're trying to move a pig out of the ring. And one of the things that Em and I were talking about while
Like I said,
they were down on the bottom.
Here for reserve, and I think a good pair of the hogs. Just lots of good to them in terms of soundness and having some body shape, some natural softness. I think one just had a little neater kind of stoutness in terms of foot, in terms of rear bone. I think it's close. Let's congratulate the young man right there.
Huh? Probably be set in the cross classes. So all the Yorks got to go, and then the first cross class will be in it. One.
So that is going to conclude the spots. What is going to be up next, I think, is
Yorks.
Em is really excited because the Yorks
Okay, in
are
the
about to
holding area at
enter
this time,
the
we
ring.
should have our class 15 Yorks.
I'm assuming we're going to have lightweight Yorks. I don't
In this
quite know
class,
how
we are
many classes
showing
we have.
12.
I'm pretty
And
sure
we'll be
there's
placing
3
eight.
classes. So
In
there
our
should be a
spot
light,
class, our
a
breed
medium, and a
champion
heavy.
is Sophie Kruger, Southwest FFA with her lightweight. And our reserve champion is Jason Arguello, Southwest FFA with his heavyweight. Congratulations.
So the Yorks are going to be entering into the arena in just a moment, but what we were wanting to talk about on the drive here just a moment ago, those kids that place in the top of the breed drive obviously have a higher spot in the auction. Let's talk about, remind everybody why this auction is so important. Em, what do you think? A good pig, $500 to
Oh,
start?
way more.
Okay.
It's like $750 for a decent one. There are people who go out and spend $2,500. It's
So
a
that's
wide
just the
variety.
very first investment.
That's just the pig. Then you gotta do all the feed. You have all the whips and troughs and everything.
We're going to call those
helps.
supplies
There you
because
go.
we don't want anybody to think that we're beating pigs because
No.
we're not. But the show supplies that are necessary,
Yeah.
the feed that is there. And then unfortunately, one of the things that you have to remember is that these students really take care of their animals. In some ways, their animals live a better life than the student themselves.
Yes.
And so if there is any sickness, if there is any other vet care that is needed, then that student is responsible for getting that taken care of as well. So there is a strong investment here. So the only way these kids really have a way of recouping that investment and setting aside and doing this all over again is the auction. So if you've not had the opportunity, you need to look at the website. That's the Bexar County Junior Livestock Show's website. There is a link there that you can sign on to. You can come out here on Saturday We're going to be with you on Saturday. I promise I'm going to let the auctioneer do most of the entertainment because I only have a limited number of jokes and then they're going to give me the hook. But we're going to make it entertaining. We want you to understand, and for some of these kids, this is the only show they got, so this is where it is. And the Yorks have arrived. Emily is really excited. We're going to take a real quick backstage look here. I say backstage, we'll call it back pin.
Behind the scenes.
A behind the scenes look, and once again, we're going through the sift. So they're coming through. Well, one pig, I think he was trying to lay down on the job just a little bit right there, but he's been encouraged now. He's coming in. Let's look for the sign. The judge is looking. He's looking. I almost feel like this is like softball or baseball. There's going to be a sign here in just a second. And she got the point. She got the point, so she's going into the pin. Here comes our next one. This is almost like a conveyor belt. You know, they're walking in pretty quickly. Judges. Notice he's working his pig real well. He's keeping the animal between him and the judge so that the judge has an uninstructed view. Unfortunately, it looks like we've got a palm coming here. So he's going to have a little bit bigger arena to work here and show his magic. Next one's coming in. She's got good job keeping the head up high. He's looking. We're waiting for a sign from the judge. Oh, he's taking another look. And she got the point. We're going to turn back around now. So we're getting ready, and all of the pigs that have actually been pinned, and now we're trying to determine the final placings. So each one's coming out, and you can tell that the it's important to understand right now, as you can hear, that there is noise behind me. Some of these animals are not used to this kind of noise because in the barns that they're raised, they don't quite have this interaction. So that's why you sometimes see that the pigs react a little bit differently once they get into the ring, because they're seeing new sights and sounds for the first time. And that's why it's up to the individual to be able to control that to some degree.
Attention, the barn start class 16 Yorkshire. Start making your way to the holding pen. Class 16 Yorkshires. If you can start making your way to the holding area, please.
The one in front does. Are we gonna put it here? Yeah, she's like, boom, I love her.
Okay, so we're hearing a lot of clapping down here. We're getting some of the last placings put in to here. Looks like he has selected his first and second. This was a large class, and this took a little bit of time.
Yes.
So you're a York lover. So did some here stand out?
I really like the girl in the white. Her York is such a nice, beautiful York. But one of the reasons why I love Yorks is because they have so much attitude, and whenever they walk into the ring, they will tell you what they're doing, and it's so fun to watch how the showmen show them up by like going back and forth with their pig, saying, "No, I'm the one in charge. You're gonna listen to me." And just, I think Yorks are a good breed to be able to show off your showmanship skills. That's why I love them.
Well, and I mean, something that I've noticed about this class here, and I don't know that it's indicative of the York breed, but it seems like the hams develop out a little bit more.
Yes.
So there's a little bit more of a meat breed development is what we're seeing inside the Yorks that are out here.
Well, part of the reason for that is because Yorks are known to be kind of flat ribbed, so they don't have much ribs, so then it's big shoulder, little rib, and then big ham. So that's why it shows more dimension. But yeah, you're close to right.
I'm close to right. Hey, at least I got close. If this was a game of horseshoes or hand grenades, I'd be winning, but unfortunately. So when we talk about
the ones ahead of them, I sure would like to stand them up. I do appreciate their look, their flexibility, their extra.
when we talk about that, I guess shorter rib, as you were talking. How does that deal with the marketability of the animal?
It doesn't really affect it too much, but it does affect their look, and usually their loin isn't as big and defined. So if you can find a York with big bone, nice ham, nice shoulder, and a really nice wide rack rib, it's really good, because most Yorks are flat ribbed but have a really, really big back and butt.
So we're getting ready for the next class.
Okay, at this time in the holding area, we should be having all of our Class 16 Yorkshires in the holding area getting ready to show in the arena. In Class 16, we have 14 exhibitors, and out of the 14, we'll be placing 9. In Class 15, 8th place, Olivia Wellman, Madison, FFA. 7th place, Jacob Cruz, St. Hedwig 4-H. 6th place, Emaleen Cain, Madison, FFA. 5th place, Jasmine Ariano, Burbank, FFA. 4th place, Emaleen Cain, O'Connor, FFA.
Just tired.
3rd place, Jewel Rodriguez, Southwest, FFA.
FFA. 2nd place, Jolie Ferguson, Madison, FFA. And 1st place, Kelly Bratton, Helotes Unlimited.
That was the
Congratulations.
one that said what it was like to get ears.
Yeah. Are you losing?
The pigs. This is the Yorkshire middleweight. Means that we will have one more class of Yorkshires, and that, of course, will be the heavyweight. You can see that we have some athletic sprinters in the ring.
Yes, that's one of the other reasons I love them. It's because they all go and they just do whatever they want. They just run and leave their showman.
You know, is it bad to say that I think that pig can run faster than I?
Since you're saying it, I don't think it's bad.
Oh, okay. I guess you're right. Is this also telling me that maybe I need to step away from the table at Christmas time? I know the pigs are probably hoping that I don't have Christmas ham. I can understand that, but yes. But, you know, I have to say that that third hog that came in right there, the girl, I think it's 606.
Yes.
Or 306.
306.
306. I'm telling you, I really like the back end view of that pig right there. There is a
As a
lot of
reminder, all
muscle.
the exhibitors, if you receive a ribbon, you should be stopping and taking a picture.
I think she's also doing a good job of keeping that head up high on the pig. Yes, we have the races here.
Get a ribbon.
I think we need to paint numbers on them so we can start
See which
deciding
one
exactly who's going to be the winner of this one. I know that last one was running faster than I. That's really a sad thing for me to say. That's sad commentary. But yes, that pig was off. It was sprinting. It gets my vote as most athletic. I haven't quite seen a Miss Congeniality yet. I'm looking for that.
Oh, it looks like he's already pinned too.
Yes, he's pinned too, and one is sitting right in front of the next gate going, I'm not leaving here. I need to be on the other side. He's already claimed his territory. He's marked it, so we're waiting to see if the judge agrees. So, talk to us about the difference of OPB, white OPB, and Yorks.
Yorks, there's more people who show Yorks. They're up-eared pigs. OPBs, there goes another one. OPBs are usually Chesters and land races. And they are down-eared. And there's not many people who raise them because they're a very stubborn breed.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking out here at some of these, and I'm thinking they've got some attitude.
They have attitude, but they're not
Especially the one that was snorting as they were coming into the ring. Sounded like a race car revving up its engines. And, of course, the way he took off, you thought we were at the races. You know, I really want to talk about that pig's movement because he is moving fast, but you get to see them almost uninhibited. It's a good thing because it's not a stiff-moving pig.
Yes.
You really see that it's got some energy out there.
But the only problem with them running is they tend to do that when they get excited. So if they run on a slick surface like that, they can mess up their leg. They can step wrong, and that's not good. So we try and break that. But
right, but the other reason too that you don't want them running in the show ring is obviously the muscles at that point in time become elongated because they're in stride, and so the judge is not going to be able to get a good look at what that pig offers.
Yes.
I guess there's something else that we need to address right now. We've got a little lull in the action. This is probably a good time to do it. A lot of people find that it is somewhat cruel, so to speak, that you care for this animal, you raise it, you spend so much time with it, and ultimately we know that most of these pigs are going to find a terminal end to their life.
Yes.
That's what they're raised for. Speak to me about that from an exhibitor standpoint.
Whenever we first get our pigs, or first start showing, we're told that, or we tell ourselves that this is a market animal. It's gonna go and end up being processed. Even if we do get attached to it, we still have that concept in mind, and we do this to provide and put meat on people's table, pork on people's table.
And I mean, I guess though that people need to understand that when we talk about ethical raising and we talk about
we give them a nice,
absolutely
luxurious life, and they're always happy unless they're sick, and then they get better, and then they're very happy.
But what kind of responsibility does 4-H and FFA translate to you?
It makes me very responsible because I have to learn about time management since I'm in both, and then I also have all my grades and all I have to keep up so I can show, because if I don't, we're not allowed to show, and then that's just a waste of a whole bunch of money. I got to be on top of everything because the pig has to be fed every day, twice a day, around the exact same time. So, because if they're not consistent, then the pig will get out of whack and most likely get sick. So you have to be very consistent.
But it's not just about feeding. I mean, obviously, when these pigs, when you get your first pig, he's not trained to walk this calmly.
No.
He's not trained to even hold his body this way in walking.
That takes a whole bunch of time and effort, and you dedicate quite a few hours into walking them and getting them to walk the way you want them each day. And then once you get them there, you have to keep them there. Because if you skip a walking, then they'll just start getting their head down, they'll walk too fast, they won't listen to you, and then you have to start the process all over again.
But let's also talk about there's an athletic benefit, just as I walk to develop muscle tone and help with, same with that pig. By exercising that pig, I mean, genetics can get you a long way. But you still have to do that finishing touch through the genetics, and how you accomplish that is obviously exercising that pig.
Yes.
And the last time I checked, they have not come up with a treadmill for Porky yet.
Several rounds
Not
of
yet.
applause for the exhibitors that are leading.
I know some of the sheep and goat people, they have walkers and they can attach them to things and it helps with the exercising, but unfortunately
Pigs
with the
cannot do
pig,
that.
it's the two-legged walk
Yes.
and keep it moving. Looks like he's about to make his final selection. It looks like he's going to pin almost 10 in this class. Am I right? Close to
8?
8?
Yes.
So we've got 8
Okay,
in
in
this
the
one.
section of an update on an item that we've been talking about throughout the day. The Friends of Plain Incorporated, the 6th annual benefit that are proceeds that are for the scholarship fund for the 4-H and FFA.
The event is taking place April 10th and 11th, 2020. They have moved from the cattle barn over to the swine barn. They are located over by the Texas Farm Bureau. They're also having a gun raffle. If you have any questions in regards to the event or would like to sign up for the event, it is a barbecue cook-off, washer tournament, and sporting place. They are here to answer any questions. Also, if I can start having class 17 Yorkshires, if you can start making your way to the holding pens. Class 17 Yorkshires, if you can start making your way to the holding pens. Also, photography, we have Felger Photography that are doing the photos today. Their website is www.dfelgerphotography.com. You can order your show photos online as well.
So here we go. It looks like we have 3 pigs there, and he's made his final selection. We've got the handshakes, we've got the ribbons coming out. And we're going to go down on the floor so he can say hi.
Class by put together, maybe not the obvious choice or obvious answer, but I feel like the one we start with, I said that earlier today, is there's top three, she's kind of combined the other two. One that has good looks to the side, good look to the face, she's a nice kind of profile and just balance and proportion in her again. She's quite a bit stouter, quite a bit more powerful than the other good looking build that we end up having in third. Just a basic, nice build one to win. Then like second is the stout one of the I felt she got this shorter and more bunched out, but just rounder the way her hips put together, not perfectly square, going right away. Really killer looking one in fourth, and I feel like the front 2/3 of that one. I felt like going away from it, you get pretty plain once we get the next turn. Fair we got a 4 out, the one that certainly stout, certainly opened up, that when you don't get fit, I like the shape going away from you. But the side, it kind of throws off her balance, so like you see from her chest, and she is in her flank. They're playing the purple vest, that one that came out of the Dead Sea. She never wants to work with her, just because they don't get up, but you have to appreciate the flexibility, the stout, and get right behind her. Lots of muscle off the shape here. I felt like she just a little bit harder body, a little bit straighter, still here, moving on the road in. The parrot built at 8 and 9. Good build still, one that has some length body in the business. I felt just the way that
Good job, Bethany. Good job, Alex.
her shoulders and just a little bit plainer and looking design comparatively. But plenty of good in those powerful stuff. Congratulations on the skills. Please get your blood and get
Ready
this
for
round of applause.
right at the end of the journey.
Okay, in the holding area, we should have at this time our class 17 Yorkshires that will be coming into the arena to show. We have 11 exhibitors. Out of the 11, we will be placing 7. In class 16, 9th place, Emaleen Gonzalez, Southwest FFA. 8th place,
Alexander Berlanga, Kirby 4-H. 7th place, Bethany Beck, Kirby 4-H. 6th place, Jennifer Perez, O'Connor, FFA. 5th place, Vanessa Bell, Judson, FFA. 4th place, Alex Berlanga, Judson, FFA. 3rd place, Megan Sorensen, O'Connor, FFA. 2nd place, Jasmine DeVay, Southwest, FFA. And in 1st place, Leslie Taylor, Helotes 4-H LSO. Congratulations.
So we're getting ready for the heavyweight Yorks, and that will finish the course of, or the class of Yorks after the breed drive, obviously. So, with this being the heavyweights, what are you expecting to walk into the ring?
A whole bunch of muscle. And it's hard to tell with Yorks because they always go a whole bunch of different ways, but some of them might be have small bones, some might have bigger bones, and most of the time with the heavy Yorks, their butt doesn't look as big, even though it's still huge, because their frame size is already so big and so long.
Well, in fact, this pig that's coming in right now, talking about length, he has quite a bit of length to that skeleton there.
Yes.
And then we're talking about muscle tone, that one there on the hams. One exhibited by 277 really has developed some big hams there. Seems like he's put the first one in the pen, so he's pinned one. We've got 4 of them coming into the ring. Now here we're talking about some heavy pigs.
Yes.
We've got a lot of weight. We've got a lot of meat right there inside the ring. They're also moving a little bit faster. That's one of the things that you were talking about on the personality of the Yorks. They certainly are carrying that into the ring. You can see it. They have been a little bit more active than the classes that we've seen earlier in the day. I'm just really, I really want to be complimentary here, and I know you've explained that some of it is the muscle skeletal makeup of this pig, but I think that these exhibitors have done a great job of developing a lot of muscle tone, developing some great pigs here. I certainly am glad that I'm not the judge, because you can see that there's some really good pigs, and that's a reminder that just because they don't make the placing pin today, that doesn't mean that they did a bad job, and it doesn't mean that their pig was bad. It's all subjective. Just as we were kind of joking and talking around earlier about different breeds of pigs, the Hereford, that kind of thing, each person has something that they like. And I think that we need to remember that with the judges that are out there in the ring, yes, they're looking at it from the meat industry, but even that, there is some subjectivity to it.
In preference.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, it's difficult too, that because you as an exhibitor, even though you may know who the judge is going to be for that show, you need to understand that probably the pig was, 40 pounds when you started? So he's going to be very little, and you're having to guess, you're having to look at some traits that you see early and hope that they will develop out into what is going to be successful.
In the right way you want it to.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, but that pig right there that is right coming across from us, exhibitor 281 has it. That pig has to be hitting way heavy, 250, 260. I'm back.
Have a round of applause for the exhibitors that are doing Just some reminders. Again, exhibitors, if you have a ribbon, please make sure that you stop and take a photo with an animal. Dean Felcher Photography is who's taking the photos today. You can order your show photos online at www.dfelcherphotography.com. Also set up over by the Texas Farm Bureau tent. There's also the Friends of Flint Incorporated that are signing up for the April 10th, 11th barbecue cook-off, washer tournament and sporting claims. They also are a gun raffle. All the proceeds for this are for the scholarship fund for the 4-H and FFA shooting sports in the name of Don Flint Jr. If you have any questions, please stop by.
You done? Let's move on it.
Attention to the barn, if I can start having class 18 crosses, if you can start making your way to the holding area, please. Class 18 crosses, if you can start making your way to the holding area, please. In class 17, with the Yorkshires, in 7th place, Zoe Talbert, Southside FFA. 6th place, Arlette Embreys, Judson FFA. 5th place, Casey Statton, Judson, FFA. 4th place, Brody Schmidt, East Central, FFA. 3rd place, Brody Pfizer, East Central, FFA. 2nd place, Leandra West, Southside, FFA. And in 1st place, Austin Wolf, Judson, FFA. Congratulations.
So we just saw him select the Grand Champion York, and right now he's working on Reserve Champion York. Going to be very interesting because the lightweight took that one, and so I'm anxious to see if the lightweights are able to carry it all the way through. I still like the pig that is on the side of the pens here that's coming across. I have a feeling that he's going with this one right here, the boy. I think 311 is going to be the reserve, but we'll see. Yep, so 311, the heavyweight, actually ends up as the reserve. So it's been a day out here at Bexar County Junior Livestock Show. This is something that I know kids have been working for all school year, getting ready. Some of them even started in the summer. And so this is a heck of a program. A reminder, everybody, you have the opportunity. They're still looking for buyers to come out on the auction on Saturday. We will be live for the auction on Saturday. But go to Bexar County Junior Livestock Show's website. There's a link there that you can click on. Come out and support the guys. It's really important. You don't understand how hard they're working, the amount of money that they've invested. Anything that you can do, any way that you can help is going to be important for these kids. We've enjoyed it. At this point in time, we're going to conclude our live broadcast of the pig show. Hope y'all enjoyed it as well. I hope you found it entertaining, and I hope you learned some things. We really want to give a shout out to the 4-H FFA student here. Enjoyed it, Em. I'm glad that you were here. You gave us a perspective that I don't think a lot of people have heard. I wish you the best of luck as you prepare for Gerlach and for the majors. And guys, thank you for paying attention, and we enjoyed it.